Good morning, students. Welcome to lesson number 3, The Little Girl, written by Catherine Mansfield. The title of the story refers to the main character, whose name is Kezia. The theme of the story is the relationship between children and their parents, and the writer wants to tell us that children share a very important bond of love with their parents. When the children are small, they feel that their parents do not love them because their parents are very strict, and many times they cannot explain why their parents act the way they do. But as the children grow up, they realize that all the acts done by their parents were for their good. The parents were concerned about them, and beneath that strictness lies a heart full of love for their children. So this bond of love between parents and children has been highlighted through this story. But before we begin the lesson, children, I would like to introduce you to the author Catherine Mansfield. Kathleen Mansfield Murray was a prominent New Zealand modernist, short story writer and poet who was born and brought up in colonial New Zealand, and she wrote under the name Catherine Mansfield. She was born on the 14th of October 1888 in Wellington, New Zealand, and some of the short stories that she wrote were The Garden Party, Miss Brill, The Doll's House, The Fly, A Cup of Tea, At the Bay, and many more. Now, let us begin with the lesson, The Little Girl by Catherine Mansfield. Do you feel you know your parents better now than when you were younger? Perhaps you now understand the reasons why some of their actions used to upset you earlier. This story is about a little girl whose feelings for her father change from fear to understanding, and that probably will find an echo in every home and every heart. Now let us begin reading the lesson. To the little girl, he was a figure to be feared and avoided. Every morning before going to work, he came into her room and gave her a casual kiss, to which she responded with, "Goodbye, father." And oh, there was a glad sense of relief when she heard the noise of the carriage growing fainter and fainter down the long road. In the evening, when he came home, she stood near the staircase and heard his loud voice in the hall. "Bring my tea into the drawing room. Hasn't the paper come yet? Mother, go and see if my paper's out there. And bring me my slippers." Kezia, mother would call to her, "If you're a good girl, you come down and take off father's boots." Slowly the girl would slip down the stairs, more slowly, still across the hall, and push open the drawing room door. By that time, he had his spectacles on and looked at her over them in a way that was terrifying to the little girl. Now, the new words in the lesson. First one is a figure to be feared. That means a person to be afraid of, a person to be feared. The second one is slip down. She would come down quietly, not wanting to be noticed, very unwillingly. So here, as we can see, every morning before going to work, Kezia's father came to the room and gave her a very casual kiss, and she said, "Goodbye, father." She was very happy to see him go. The reason for that was that she was very afraid of him. So, and in the evening when her father returned home, she stood near the staircase and she would hear his loud voice giving orders. "Bring my tea. Hasn't the paper come? Mother, go and see if the paper's out there. Bring me my slippers." So, she used to be worried that, oh, father's back home again. And then mother would call her that if you're a good girl, come down, take off your father's boots. So slowly, very unwillingly, she would come there and she would push open the door, and when she looked at father, she would see that he had his spectacles on, looking at her in a very terrifying way. Let's read on further. "Well, Kezia, hurry up and pull off these boots and take them outside. Have you been a good girl today?" I don't know, father," she would reply. So when her father asked her that if you're here, then come quickly and take off these boots and keep them outside. And then he would ask her if she had been good that day, to which she would stammer. And you You don't know, if you stutter like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor. The father was concerned and he told her not to stammer, not to stutter. She never stuttered with other people, had quite given it up, but only with father, because she was trying so hard to find the words properly. What's the matter? What are you looking so wretched about, mother? I wish you taught this child not to appear on the brink of suicide. Here, Kezia, carry my teacup back to the table carefully. He was so big, his hands and his neck, especially his mouth when he yawned. Thinking about him alone was like thinking about a giant. On Sunday afternoons, the grandmother sent her down to the drawing room to have a nice talk with father and mother. But the little girl always found mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa, his handkerchief on his face, his feet on one of the best cushions, sleeping soundly and snoring. So, Kezia's mother would call out to her to ask her to remove her father's boots, and then she would obey. But her father would ask her why she was stammering and stuttering, that her mother would have to take her to the doctor. So, her father would be looking down at her at the end of his spectacles and she was terrified of him. And Kezia was very reluctant. That means she was not willing to go anywhere close to her father. So she was very slow in her work. Then Kezia said that she was not confident. And the reason why a person is not confident is because of the feeling of fear. So when Kezia's father, he also stammered like her, making fun of her. He told her that if she kept on stammering, then she would have to go for a checkup. But she knew that she had stopped stammering and stuttering with other people. The only person she stammered around was her father. So here the writer tells us that Kezia never stammered around anyone else. Then Kezia's father looked at her and he thought something was wrong with her. He asked her why she was so unhappy. And then he told her mother that she should teach her to behave in a more cheerful, happy manner, not to appear so sad and glum as if she was about to end her life. So he wants to say that Kezia seems to be very unhappy in the house and that she did not want to live any longer. He gives her the teacup and asks her to go and keep it on the table. Then, so here's the feeling that the vision she has of her father is that of a big giant. And whenever her grandmother sent her to talk to her parents, she always found her father sleeping and her mother reading. Let us continue further. She sat on a stool, gravely watched him until he woke up and stretched and asked the time. Then he looked at her. Don't stare so, Kezia. You look like a little brown owl. One day, her grandmother told her that her father's birthday was next week and suggested she should make him a pincushion for a gift out of a beautiful piece of yellow silk cloth. Laboriously, with a double cotton, the little girl stitched 3 sides. But what to fill it with? That was the question. The grandmother was out in the garden and she wandered around into mother's bedroom to look for scraps. On the bed table, she discovered a great many sheets of fine paper, gathered them up, tore them into tiny pieces and stuffed her case with it, and then sewed up the 4th side. That night there was a hue and cry in the house. Father's great speech for the Port Authority had been lost. So, over here we can see that Kezia is very afraid of her father and her father is very strict with her. She doesn't want to go anywhere near her father. So she sits on the stool and looks at him until he wakes up and stretches and asks her the time. And he says, Kezia, stop staring like that. You look like a little owl. So one day when she was indoor because she had a cold, her grandmother told her that her father's birthday was approaching. So she suggested that she could make him a pincushion as a gift, and she gave her a beautiful piece of yellow silk cloth. Then, so Kezia took all the trouble, even though she was not well. laboriously means with a lot of effort and difficulty. With a double cotton, the little girl stitched all the three sides. And then she thought, now what will I stuff inside this pin cushion? So she looked around, and as she wandered into mother's bedroom, she saw many sheets of fine paper gathered. So she put them together, tore them into pieces, and stuffed all those little bits of paper in that pin cushion. And little did she know what she had done, the mistake that she had made. Those papers, her father kept searching for a speech that he had written for the Port Authority, and he couldn't find it. And then when they kept looking for it, she realized that it was she who had torn up that speech and stuffed it into that pin cushion. So rooms were searched, servants questioned. Finally, mother came to Kezia's room. Kezia, I suppose you didn't see some papers on a table in our room. Oh yes, she said. I tore them up for my surprise. What? Screamed mother. Come right down to the dining room this instant. And she was dragged down to where father was pacing to and fro, hands behind his back. Well, he said sharply. Mother explained. He stopped and stared at the child. Did you do that? No, she whispered. Mother, go up to her room and fetch down that damn thing. See that the child's put to bed this instant. So, here as we can see, after Kezia decided, after she stuffed that pin cushion, then she heard father searching for his speech, and then the servants were questioned. They looked through all the rooms and they couldn't find it. Then mother came to Kezia's room and asked her that, you didn't see those pages, did you? And then she said, oh yes, I tore them up because I wanted to make a surprise for father. And mother was really shocked. She says, come right down to the dining room. And father was there, pacing to and fro because he was very troubled as he couldn't find his speech. So he asked her, what did you do? Mother explained that it was Kezia who saw that speech, and not knowing that those papers were important, tore them and stuffed them inside the pin cushion. And the father asked her, did you do that? And then she said, no. And then father got so angry, he told mother, take this little girl to her room and see that the child's put to bed. He didn't want to see her at that moment. He was so angry. Then, crying too much to explain, she lay in the shadowed room watching the evening light make a sad little pattern on the floor. Then father came into the room with a ruler in his hands. I am going to beat you for this, he said. Oh no, she screamed, hiding under the bedclothes. He pulled the bedclothes aside. Sit up, he ordered, and hold out your hands. You must be taught once and for all not to touch things that do not belong to you. But it was for your birthday. Down came the ruler on her little pink palms. So here, as we can see, children, that after father realized that Kezia was the one who tore up his speech, and he was very angry, he asked mother to take her to her bedroom. And when she went there, she was feeling very, very sad, and for having made such a mistake without realizing it. So father came up to her room with a ruler in his hands, and he said that he was going to beat her for taking things that did not belong to her. He said, this is not a good habit. You must not touch anything that does not belong to you. And then she didn't want to be beaten, but father pulled the bedclothes aside and asked her to put her hands out, and he beat her with a ruler on the palm of her hands. And so that was the first time she was beaten. So Kezia cried, kept on crying for a long time. Then let us continue reading. Hours later, when grandmother had wrapped her in a shawl and rocked her in the rocking chair, the child clung to her soft body. What did God make fathers for? She sobbed. Here's a clean hanky, darling. Blow your nose. Go to sleep, pet. You'll forget all about it in the morning. I tried to explain to father, but he was too upset to listen tonight. But the child never forgot. The next time she saw him, she quickly put both her hands behind her back, and a red color flew into her cheeks. So many hours later, when grandmother saw that Kezia was crying, she wrapped her in a shawl and she caught her close to her, made her sit in her lap and kept rocking her. And the child kept crying, and she asked her grandmother, why did God make fathers? But Grandmother reassured her, she pampered her, and she told her, "Go to sleep, pet, you'll forget about it in the morning. I will explain to your father." But just now he's too upset to listen, so we'll wait for the morning. But the little child never forgot that beating that she got from her father. The next time she saw father, she put her hands behind her back, and a red color flew into her cheeks because she was feeling very, very, she was feeling very bad at what her father had done. Then let us continue reading further. The McDonalds lived next door. They had 5 children. Looking through a gap in the fence, the little girl saw them playing tag in the evening. The father with the baby, Mao on his shoulders, 2 little girls hanging onto his coat pockets, ran round and round the flower bed, shaking with laughter. Once she saw the boys turn the hose on him, and he tried to catch them, laughing all the time. Then it was she decided there were different sorts of fathers. Suddenly one day, mother became ill, and she and grandmother went to the hospital. And the little girl was left alone in the house with Alice the cook. That was all right in the daytime. So here, as we can see, that Kezia had her immediate next door neighbors were the McDonalds, and they had 5 children, whereas Kezia was the only child in her house. When she looked out at her neighbors, she saw them through a gap in the fence. She saw them playing tag. Now tag is like a children's game where they try to catch each other. She saw these children playing with their father, and the father was carrying a baby. There were 2 girls, and all of them were running round and round. Then she saw the boys turning a water hose on him and getting him wet, and yet he wasn't angry. He tried to catch them, laughing all the time. Then she decided that, oh, the McDonalds, these children, their father is so kind and loving, and he even plays with them, but my father is so strict. That means there are different kinds of fathers. And then one day, her mother, Kezia's mother, became ill, and so grandmother went along with mother to the hospital. She was hospitalized, and so the girl was left all alone in the home with the cook, whose name was Alice. And that was all right in the daytime. She didn't mind being alone with the cook. But while Alice was putting her to bed, she suddenly became afraid, and she asked, "What'll I do if I have a nightmare?" she asked. "I often have nightmares, and then Granny takes me into her bed. I can't stay in the dark. It gets all whispery." "You just go off to sleep, child," said Alice, pulling off her socks, "and don't you scream and wake your poor pa." So, when Kezia's mother and grandmother went to the hospital, and she was all alone at home with her cook, she didn't mind that, but she dreaded being alone in the night, and she said that to Alice. She told Alice that it's okay right now, but what if I have nightmares? Normally when I have a nightmare, Granny takes me into the bed and she says I cannot stay alone in the dark. But Alice told her, "Don't worry, child, you just go off to sleep and don't scream and wake up your poor father." But the same old nightmare came. Now, Kezia, because of her fright and because she was afraid of her father, she was not even able to sleep in the night. Every night she would have a nightmare, which is a dream, a bad dream. So she would have a nightmare. The butcher with a knife and a rope, who came nearer and nearer, smiling that dreadful smile, while she could not move, could only stand still, crying out, "Grandma, Grandma!" She woke shivering to see father beside her bed, a candle in his hand. "What's the matter?" he said. "Oh, a butcher, a knife. I want Granny." He blew out the candle, bent down and caught up the child in his arms, carrying her along the passage to the big bedroom. A newspaper was on the bed. He put away the newspaper, then carefully tucked up the child. He lay down beside her, half asleep still, with the butcher's smile all about her, it seemed. She crept close to him, snuggled her head under his arm, and held tightly to his shirt. Then the dark did not matter. She lay still. So here we see, children, that Alice reassured her not to worry, to go off to sleep and not to trouble her father. But the moment Kezia went to sleep, came the same nightmare that she had every night. But this time her grandmother was not around. And the nightmare was there was a butcher with a knife and a rope coming closer and closer in order to kill her, smiling a very horrible smile. And she could not move, but she cried out, "Grandma, Grandma!" And she awoke shivering to see that her father had, her father heard her screams and came there with a candle in his hand. And then he asked her what the matter was. And then Kezia explained, "Oh, the butcher, a knife." And she said, "Oh, I want my grandma." So the father blew out the candle, bent down, and caught her. Like he picked her up in his arms, carrying her along the passage to his own bedroom. There was a newspaper he must have been reading that night when he heard Kezia shouting and screaming. So he put away the newspaper, put her inside the bed, tucked her under the bed sheets, and then he lay down beside her. And she was half asleep with that butcher's smile, like she was worried. But the moment she felt her father lying down next to her, she snuggled her head under his arm and caught hold tightly to his shirt. And then she was not afraid of the dark. Her father said, "Here, rub your feet against my leg and get them warm." So, tired out, he slept before the little girl. A funny feeling came over her. Poor father, not so big after all, and with no one to look after him. He was harder than grandmother, but it was a nice hardness, and every day he had to work and was too tired to be a Mr. MacDonald. She had torn up all his beautiful writing. She stirred suddenly and sighed. "What's the matter?" asked her father. "Another dream?" "Oh," said the little girl, "my head's on your heart. I can hear it going. What a big heart you've got, father dear." So here, as we can see, children, the meaning of the word snuggled is to move into a very comfortable position close to another person. So when a father carried her from her bedroom into his own bedroom and laid her down put her down on the bed, and she felt very comfortable and reassured, she stopped being afraid. And at that moment she realized that father was not so big after all. He was not a giant. She had no reason to be afraid of him. And then she also realized that he was a hard man, but it was a nice hardness. And then she saw him from a different viewpoint. She realized that every day he had to go to work, and so he was tired when he came home. And that's the reason why, because of his tiredness, he was very abrupt, and he gave everyone orders in the house. And he was not to be blamed for beating her. She had torn up all his beautiful handwriting, and that's why he had been angry. Then as she moved a bit, her father asked her, "What's the matter? Are you having another dream?" She said, "Oh no, my head is on your heart. I can hear your heart beating. What a big heart you've got, father dear." So here at the end of the story, we realize that the little girl who was so afraid of her father, so much so that she stammered and she stuttered, and especially after the beating that she got from him, she dreaded being around him, and she hid her hands. But when she was alone, when her mother and grandmother were not around and she was having a nightmare, it was her father who carried her, nestled her down, put her there in his bed. And so she realized that even though he was giant like, but he was also tender and soft. So after she saw this other side of her father, she was not at all afraid of him. And we too have no reason to be afraid of our parents. At times they are strict, at times they scold us, but it is for our own good. So I hope you have understood this lesson well. Now, thinking about the text, given below are some emotions that Kezia felt. Match the emotions in column A with the items in column B. So here, the first one is fear or terror. That is, father comes home. Speaking of father comes into the room to give a goodbye kiss and going to bed when alone at home. That was all the times when she felt fear or terror. When did she have a glad sense of relief? She had a glad sense of relief when the noise of the carriage grew fainter when her father went to work, and also when her father went off to sleep, stretching out on the sofa and he was snoring. Then a funny feeling perhaps of understanding. When did that come? When father comforted her and fell asleep. Then answer the questions in one or two sentences. The first one is, why was Kezia afraid of her father? Why was Kezia afraid of her father, children? Kezia was a young girl who interacted very less with her father. When he was at home, she found him to be very rude, who kept on ordering for things. He would give her mother orders that get me tea, go see if the newspapers there, and he never spoke kindly to her, and he called her names. He always found fault with her and used to bluntly ask her if she had been a good child. When she stammered and stuttered, he would warn her that if she continued doing that, then she would have to go and visit a doctor. So he was a person to be feared and avoided. She experienced great relief whenever he left for work, and the noise of the carriage became fainter. Then, who were the people in Kezia's family? Kezia's family included her father, mother, and her grandmother. What was Kezia's father's routine before going to the office? Before going to the office, he used to come and give her a very casual kiss. Then, what was his routine after coming back from the office? After Kezia's father came back from office, she would take off his shoes. He would wait for her to come and take off his shoes or boots, and he would ask her for the newspaper and tea from her mother. Then, what was the routine on Sundays? On Sundays, he would stretch out on the sofa in the drawing room with a handkerchief on his face and put his feet up on the best cushion and would be soundly asleep. Then, in what ways did Kezia's grandmother encourage her to get to know her father better? Well, Kezia's grandmother knew that she was very afraid of her father, so she tried to encourage her to get to know him better so that she could overcome her fear. Every Sunday, she sent her to the drawing room to have a nice talk with him. But she also told her to make a gift of a pin cushion for her father's birthday. Now, discuss these questions and write down the answers in 2 or 3 paragraphs. Kezia's efforts to please her father resulted in displeasing him very much. How did this happen? As you know, that Kezia was very afraid of her father and she preferred staying far away from him. But her grandmother wanted her to grow closer to her father. And so she suggested that why don't you make him a pin cushion? His birthday is coming very close. And so she gave her a beautiful yellow color silk piece of cloth. So she stitched the 3 sides and then she wanted to stuff something inside it. So Kezia went into her mother's bedroom and found many sheets of paper which she tore up into tiny bits and stuffed that pin cushion with it. And that resulted in displeasing her father very much because he had written a wonderful speech to be given at the port authorities. So that was what happened. Even though she tried to please her father, she ended up in displeasing him. Then the next question. Kezia decides that there are different kinds of fathers. What kind of father was Mr. MacDonald and how was he different from Kezia's father? Kezia was very afraid of her father because he was very rude, he spoke very harshly to her, and so she tried to avoid his company, and he never played with her or made her laugh or made her feel comfortable. She used to feel why God made fathers. On the other hand, when she looked out of her house and through the fence, she saw Mr. MacDonald playing with his children, with the baby, he had 5 children. He would be carrying the baby on his shoulders, 2 of them would be hanging on to his coat, and the boys would be laughing, trying to wet him with a hose of water, and they would be having a nice time. She found them enjoying very much as a family. So she came to the conclusion that there were different kinds of fathers. How does Kezia begin to see her father as a human being who needs her sympathy? So here, as we can see, one night when her mother and grandmother were in the hospital, Kezia had a nightmare. She was so afraid that she started crying out loudly, calling out for her grandmother. But her father came into the room and saw that since she was having a nightmare, he carried her and took her to his bedroom and put her to sleep, and he slept beside her. And then she realized that her father was not so hard at all. He was quite warm and tender. He cared a lot about her, and that is why he wanted to put her at ease. At that time, she realized that he had given her a beating because she had done the wrong thing, and he wanted her to learn what was right and wrong in life. She realized that her father wanted to understand. Her father wanted her to understand his compulsion. In reality, he was a good person. Then, look at the following sentence. There was a glad sense of relief when she heard the noise of the carriage growing fainter. Glad means happy. So, all these are synonyms. Glad, happy, pleased, delighted, thrilled, and overjoyed. All these are expressions and they have the same meaning. She was glad when the meeting was over. The chief guest was pleased to announce the name of the winner. So here, use an appropriate word from the synonyms given above in the following sentences, and clues are given in the bracket. She was thrilled. To be very pleased is thrilled. I was by the news of her brother's wedding. I was elated, to be invited to the party. That means extremely pleased and excited. The third one, she was overjoyed at the birth of her granddaughter. That means she was extremely happy. The coach was pleased. That means satisfied with his performance. She was very delighted with her result. That means she was happy about something that had happened. Now, let us go to question number 2. Study the use of the word big in the following sentence. He was so big. His hands, his neck, especially his mouth, means they are talking about the size. Now, when you consult a dictionary and find out the meaning of big. So, the first one, you are a big girl now. That means you have grown older. Today, you are going to take the biggest decision of your career. That means you are going to take the most important decision of your career. Their project is full of big ideas. That means their project is great. Cricket is a big game in our country. What does it mean? It is a very popular game. I am a big fan of Lata Mangeshkar. That means I am a huge fan of Lata Mangeshkar. You have to cook a bit more as my friend is a big eater. It means enormous. And the last one, what a big heart you've got, father dear. That means you are very large-hearted. Then, reporting verbs. What? Screamed mother. No, she whispered. Sit up, he ordered. Then, the italicized words are verbs of reporting. We quote or report what somebody has said by using a reporting verb. Children, do you know where we use reporting verbs? We use them in direct and indirect speech. He promised to help in my project. How are you doing? Seema asked. So, we use all these when we speak. We use words of reporting to advise, order, report statements, thoughts, intentions, questions, request, apologies, manner of speaking, and so on. Underline the verbs of reporting in the following sentence. In the first one, it is says. In the second one, it is mentioned. In the third one, it is told. Next, he answered. So, it is answered. The next one, wondered. Ben told. Ratan apologized. So, in this it is. So, some words of reporting are given. That means they are reporting verbs are given in the box. Choose the most appropriate ones. I am not afraid, remarked the woman. Leave me alone, my mother shouted. The next one, the children were complaining that the roads were crowded and noisy. Perhaps he isn't a bad sort of chap after all, replied the master. Let's go and look at the school ground, suggested the sports teacher. The traffic police ordered all the passers-by to keep off the road. And then this is speaking. It is an exercise where you don't have to speak because we don't have school right now, but you could just read it. This story is not an Indian story. But do you think there are fathers and mothers like the one portrayed in the story in our own country? Yes, you all know that in India, family is a very, very important unit, and people are very closely, bonded together with their parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, and all the relatives. Was Kezia's father right to punish her? What kind of person was he? You might find some words to describe him. So, you can, he was undemonstrative. Yes, he did not demonstrate his love. He was not loving, he was strict, he was hardworking, he was responsible, he was not unkind, he was a strict disciplinarian, he was short tempered, and he was also very indifferent at times. So, has your life been very different or similar to that of Kezia when you were a child? And has your, this is for you to think and introspect about it. Has your perception about your parents changed? Did you find them different when you were younger, and now do you have different feelings regarding them? Do you find them any change in your parents' behavior vis-a-vis yours? That means when compared to yours, who has become more understanding? Have you become more understanding, or have they become more? What steps would you like to take to build a relationship based on understanding? Write 3 or 4 paragraphs discussing these issues from your experience. Okay children, so I do hope you have understood this lesson well. Read the lesson and then write the question answers that are given. Thank you and have a nice day.